If you were a minor with unrestricted internet access between the years of 2010 and 2017, you may be entitled to financial compensation, because that's when the alt-right pipeline was at its peak. iFunny, 4chan, and Reddit were all on the rise. Racist jokes were more than common on Vine. Instagram meme culture made everything worse. Even if you didn't fall into the alt-right pipeline yourself, you knew someone who did. And the fallout of this everyone up at one point or another.
Hey, it's your host.
That was kind of loud. Cyber Bounty Hunter, aka Cyber, aka Dead Ed Morgan, and today I will be discussing the racist, homophobic, misogynistic, and overall disgusting abyss of the alt-right pipeline. Before I get into this video though, make sure you subscribe to my channel or else you'll see Unagen's crack ass under your bed tonight. If you do not know who Unagen is, I want you to take a minute to thank whatever God you believe in. If you do know who he is, I hope you're recovering well from your eating disorder. Now let's begin this hellhole of a video. What is the alt-right pipeline? The alt-right pipeline is a gradual but quick process that takes rather average people and turns them into right-wing extremists and bigots. There are two main points I want to make. The first point is that bigotry gets marketed as humor or comedy. The second point I'd like to make is that bigotry gets marketed as a solution to social and/or economic problems. As far as comedy goes, there's dark humor, shock humor, edgy humor, and anti-humor. iFunny, Reddit, and 9gag are all platforms that have mastered this form of humor. While the layouts of the platforms may be slightly different, there's one thing that they all have in common, and it's the sense of community that they provide. Who's desperately searching for a sense of community? The outsiders of this world. Outsiders are more susceptible to falling into the alt-right pipeline. There are the socially awkward straight white men with very specific interests such as gaming or anime or other assorted fandoms. They are probably the most obvious and simultaneously most commonly discussed when it comes to talking about the whoever falls into the alt-right pipeline archetype. However, there are also people who got bullied in school who fell into it. The neurodivergent fell into it. There were some black people who fell into it, people of color who fell into it, some women who fell into it, and even some LGBTQ plus people. Many times when people feel rejected by society, they turn to online communities for comfort. Those who had interests that led them to apps like Amino, Pinterest, or led them to watch content on YouTube like BuzzFeed were probably more likely to turn out as liberals or leftists. However, those who had interests like comedy or gaming or politics were more likely to fall into the dark side of the internet. As I mentioned earlier, the alt-right pipeline is a gradual but quick process of indoctrination. In right-leaning communities, you're groomed to believe that racist jokes and other forms of dark humor are just not that serious. People who don't laugh at them are causing divisiveness in the community. And everyone who disagrees with that principle is just sensitive. Furthermore, if you openly disagreed or tried to leave a tighter community like this, you could get spammed, blackmailed by your past, sent a bunch of death threats, or even doxxed. The process of getting radicalized through comedy is also a process of desensitization and dehumanization. As you go deeper and deeper into the alt-right pipeline and your algorithm changes, you get more isolated from those with opposing opinions or otherwise people who are threats to your community. Anyone who opposes the safety of the community, aka the left, the liberals, the feminists, etc., are minimized to sheer caricatures for memes. They're portrayed as stupid, divisive, and problematic. This leads to an echo chamber, where edgy humor evolves into direct discrimination. Satirical posts lead to full-blown bigoted conspiracy theories. And slapstick humor evolves into violence and gore. Once you get to this part of the alt-right pipeline, most of the damage to your brain has already been done. Some people are able to get out the first moment they see something they don't like. But for those who have been getting desensitized for years through the memes and YouTubers like Unagen, Leafy is here, iDubbbz, Filthy Frank, and PewDiePie, they just see this as internet culture, and anyone who can't handle it should simply get off the internet. Everyone else becomes a normie in their eyes, or someone who just doesn't get it. Even worse is if the people around them reflect what they see online. For example, if they come from a racist family, racist memes are more likely to appear normal to them. If they come from a homophobic or transphobic family, they're more likely to be drawn to homophobic or transphobic humor. If someone is a black person or other person of color with internalized racism, whether as a result of the media, their upbringing, or constantly getting bullied or gaslighted at school, they'll usually be more okay with self-deprecating jokes or racist humor until they educate themselves. If someone grew up in a misogynistic family, they're more likely to have internalized misogyny and become pick-me's. That is, until they get educated. The problem is, once you've gotten to the echo chamber portion of the alt-right pipeline, the majority of your online consumption becomes bigoted content, and you become accustomed to blocking everything else out. This obviously affects people's social interactions in real life. The more obscure and offensive your humor, the less likely you are to have friends in real life. You become more and more isolated until all you have is your online safe space. In your online safe space, there's the approved people, the approved comedy, and the approved news sources. You begin to believe that everything within your online circle, or the hierarchy of it, is the absolute truth. This, plus the social disconnect from people in real life, leads me to my next point. Bigotry is marketed as the solution to social and/or economic problems. If you were radicalized on YouTube opposed to iFunny or Reddit, you're very well versed with the gaming commentary to social commentary pipeline. The golden age of YouTube was super problematic. With the pipeline everywhere, there was damn near no escape. It was either edgy content creators, King Batch and other minstrels who portrayed racist caricatures, prank videos, or BuzzFeed. As one would watch more right-leaning content on YouTube, less left-wing content would be recommended to them. Confident conservative figures, such as
Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson.
Let me stop. Steven Crowder. Who's the other nigga? Joe Rogan. They dominated YouTube by using repetitions, slogans, and rhetoric. Their ideas didn't necessarily have to be good, but the repetition along with the silent majority narrative made it seem like their ideas were normal and that they were okay. Those who once felt like outsiders now began to feel welcomed and normal and like they weren't alone. Tags on videos pushed viewers further down the alt-right pipeline. And the conspiracy theories took the left's ideas and flipped them on them. Instead of blaming men's problems on toxic masculinity, they blamed them on liberated women. Instead of blaming economic issues on inflation or capitalism, the conservatives blamed them on immigrants. Instead of blaming crime on systemic oppression and all the situations that had to go into it for people to be oppressed, they just said, oh, 1350. It's just black people. By never providing much nuance and consistently misrepresenting data, the right was able to take complex issues such as systemic racism, poverty, or oppression, minimize them, turn them into slogans, rhetoric, and then flip them on the left. Once again, the only way out of the alt-right pipeline is to leave. For some people, it'll take one post for them to leave. For others, it'll take many. For some people, it'll just take them a book. For some, it'll take a research document. For others, it'll take that one person to pull them over to the side and say, hey, you're wrong. If you're someone who came out of the alt-right pipeline, know that unlearning bigotry and general insensitivity is something you must work on every day, because anti-blackness, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, and other forms of discrimination are deeply ingrained in this society. Even if it was just a phase for you, it wasn't just a phase for the people you tormented or harassed. If you know the names of the people you hurt, apologize to them. Know that not everyone's going to accept your apology, and not everyone's going to feel sorry for you. All you can do from this point on is educate yourself and educate others. Get involved in your community and be genuine. While plain ignorance may have explained some of the things you may have said or done, it does not excuse them. Understand that you may lose some of your conservative or right-wing friends, but understand even more that if you are comfortable in the presence of hatred and bigotry, you are a passive enabler of it. But yeah, that was my summary of the abyss of the alt-right pipeline. Thank you for watching, and make sure you sub for more videos like this. Much love, and don't forget to check on those younger than you, so that they don't have to learn some of these things the hard way.